Madam Chair, we did take a cabinet paper in Parliament. We took a paper in cabinet to talk about the challenges in our missions, matters to do with reclassification, including international subscriptions. Arising out of that paper, Cabinet advised us to prepare another paper to reduce the number of missions that we have. And we have since prepared that paper, and we shall present it as a measure to address the challenges related to subscription and the challenges of reclassification. So we have taken action by presenting a paper to Cabinet. Arising out of that paper, we were guided to reduce the number of missions that we have. Of course, our argument has been less than 40 missions is not too many out of 193 countries that are recognized by the UN, but we stand guided that we take a paper to reduce the number of missions. And I think that also addresses the Honorable Bisaso's question, and it is true our reputation is injured if we don't pay subscriptions. Uganda is viewed as a growing economy. They can't reconcile the fact that Uganda cannot pay subscriptions and other smaller economies are paying subscriptions. So that's something that we need. But the Honorable Nguja had mentioned rationalizing the budget here. If you analyze this budget, you'll find that the budget is for rent, for the diplomats. When we send diplomats out, we pay their housing. We pay their, we pay for somewhere we don't have, we own property, we pay for the housing. So if you scrutinize it, you'll find that actually these are operational costs that you're dealing with across the missions. And then the individuals that have been arrested and are in Iraq, we have reached out to the authorities. They are positive to release them, but now the challenge becomes the absence of resources to return them. Now when you reach out to the, as you'll appreciate, there's no appropriation to return Ugandans. Now when they reach out and say, okay, your prisoners are here, you have them, because some of them is actually for petty offenses. It's not something like murder, but petty offenses. And then we find ourselves in a dilemma whereby the relatives cannot even contribute for money for them to return. So that's one of the challenges that we have. The other issue, the other question, I think from Honorable Sewagude again, was on the UN Convention on Persons with Disability, which we really appreciate and associate with, and the support. We want to pledge that indeed we had an incident where I think some members were supposed to travel, and the support prescribes that support is given to government officials only. But I think for members, people with disability, I think it's an oversight to assume that the people who support them are not part of government. Because indeed, if they support them, it's important. Like the gentleman I see supporting the honorable member here, it's only in order that they are also supported when their travel comes up. Unfortunately, if it finds an officer who is not aware, it may not be regarded as such, but we shall advise the team that handles consular services. Their head is right here, Evans, to ensure that whenever they appear before us and they need support, they are supported. And in the past, actually, I know we have extended support to a number of members with disability to ensure that they travel and execute their duties with the support team. But we shall ensure that that is streamlined in our internal policies so that in future there are no challenges. Now on the Honorable Gabriel raised the issue of Ugandans in the diaspora, but also the peacekeeping mission in Gaza. Now, Honorable Chair and honorable members, we have not received information officially that Uganda shall participate in the peacekeeping mission. But what I know, I think it's either constitutional that the country cannot deploy without permission of Parliament. My understanding is that at an appropriate time, the responsible ministry, most likely the Ministry of Defense, shall appear before Parliament to seek that permission before the deployment is done. That's my expectation. So at that point in time, Parliament will be fully informed, and then will associate with that peacekeeping mission. Now, the other issue on reclassification and so on that has been around, Otuno as a late entrant, Honorable Chair and honorable members, the unfortunate thing is there's not necessarily a deadline on when a Secretary General for the UN should submit. I think there's still even a window, if I'm not mistaken, for someone to come in and submit. So someone may come in tomorrow to submit their candidature. Having said that, we received a directive, and when we received the directive, we immediately implemented it without any delay. I think we made the submission the day we were directed to do so. So we are pursuing his candidature, we are supporting it, and we are hopeful that we have a chance. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Indeed, thank you so much. And this first session has been a big eye-opener, which is going to help us understand the subsequent meetings. My colleagues have showered you with praises, and you deserve it. For colleagues, the PS was a member of Parliament and the chair of ICT in the 9th Parliament.
That have removed middlemen and are coming to the gardens to pick maize and so on. Madam Chair and honorable members, I think those are some of the issues that come with integration. The free movement of goods, persons and goods, is what we really have been pursuing in the East African community. That can we have Ugandans move freely to Tanzania and do whatever they need to do, and can goods indeed as well move as freely as possible. So I know it disadvantages the middlemen, but in one way or the other, it promotes integration. Now, Honorable Wabusai Stephen did mention the role of the Ministry of Finance in ECD. What is true, the Ministry of Finance and we at Foreign Affairs did write the ECD strategy, the Economic and Commercial Diplomacy strategy. And that strategy is really well outlined. It gives the duties and responsibilities to each and every player, including actually the Ministry of Trade, because whatever we do as Foreign Affairs is actually for the benefit of other ministries. That is tourism, agriculture, trade, and so on and so forth. Now within that, we have a steering committee which the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs co-chair. And the reason we agreed to this strategy of co-chairing, we wanted a little bit of more convening power. Because as I said earlier, we get opportunities and then we fail to follow through, largely because our colleagues in the other ministries have not taken adequate attention on the opportunities that our missions have brought. So we found it necessary to co-chair the ECD implementation, and I must say, honorable members, that that is working well so far. And the team I know we are going to have another presentation on ECD, but the team will give you details of how far we have gone in that collaboration. The Honorable Tana asked about the influencers and the reality that Russians can no longer make payments online. It's true, actually. The mission did write to us. They've raised the issue or the challenge of Russians getting visas, and we've been intervening. Having said that, we have written to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to allow for visas on arrival, and I think that is something that we are going to conclude with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, so that the Russians can receive visas on arrival in Uganda, as opposed to the online applications, which we know can no longer work as it is. Honorable Sewagude wondered whether we are doing much sensitization to the Ugandans, especially to avert or reduce the number of Ugandans in distress. It is true, we have done quite some sensitization as the ministry, but I must also add that it is inadequate. The Ministry of Internal Affairs are the ones responsible for the law on anti-human trafficking. And they have a duty and responsibility to really do some massive sensitization for Ugandans to ensure that they don't fall prey over these so-called lucrative opportunities, yet in actual sense, it's human trafficking. It has been very challenging for us. We did repatriate hundreds of Ugandans from Myanmar, but the unfortunate thing was the Ethiopian Airlines that brought, I think, the first 43 Ugandans now carried another 20 going in the same destination. Yes, as we were bringing, others were going. And how do we know? When they reached out to be rescued, we asked, when did you go? And it was actually a few days after we had rescued the first lot. Now, the other most unfortunate thing is that it is Ugandans that are trafficking Ugandans. Some of them are known. They've been tracked. Police has arrested some. But as you know, you arrest these ones and another group also forms up. But having said that, we shall intensify our campaign to stop these Ugandans from traveling. And again, like the colleagues in Iraq,